how afraid are you from the Bedrock team to generate new stuff? And how much are going to be your headache for the next few years?
Oh, I love it though. I love it because now we're talking about, hey, let's build new things, right? Like what
Yeah.
does the future hold? I mean, the number of opportunities is sort of endless with Gen AI and LLMs, but we launched a couple weeks ago a general availability of Amazon Q for cost management.
Yeah.
And like we had to invent new metrics to track the accuracy of the responses. Like there was no such thing as a KPI for Cost Explorer query accuracy coming out of a chatbot. So we had to invent that metric. Actually, a peer of mine, Liam, built and designed a brand new accuracy tracking concept for us to identify what we felt comfortable with GAing. It was really cool. But not just that, like we built GPU optimization recommendations in the compute optimizer last year. Like it's kind of a brave new world. And I'm excited for that because like I had this experience earlier in my career where when cloud was starting to become popular, a lot of people, I was in IT, so there's a huge number of people doing patch management, agent health management, right? So these normal IT practices. There were some people that were afraid, hey, in the cloud, I don't have my patch job. What do I do? And other people were like, oh my gosh, that's great. Now I don't have to patch server and track patching success across IT anymore. Now I can do something more impactful. And if you embrace change and are excited about the capability of new technology like LLMs and Gen AI, you can scale yourself and your impact, and especially FinOps, right? If we talk about the culture change and helping explain the impact of recommendations and right sizing and cost as a service, or as a resource to engineers, what if we take LLM capabilities to explain the recommendations and explain this does take into account CPU performance differences, and here's the result. And what can we do to accelerate FinOps with AI? Or again, on the flip side, using AI to do FinOps, as far as like, what are we optimizing in the AI space, right? Are we going to build recommendations for Bedrock? Right. I don't know yet. Like we're working on it. We don't know what that looks like, right? I get more excited about these developments than I get worried because if we're still working on the right sizing problem and getting people to take recommendations 5-10 years from now, I think that we've probably not done as well as we could have, right?
Mm-hmm.
AI to advise on AI recommendation.
It's the endless loop. You can do endless loops.
It's kind of already there though, because like our GPU right size recommendations, right? We use models to do that. So it sort of is AI for AI a little bit. So
yeah, it never ends. It's like AI for FinOps for AI, and then the cycle will start again. It's super fun.
Actually, I'm very happy you said about all the cultural movement, because it made me think that you're correct, right? We need to talk about the culture and about the need, because at least me, I'm always looking for the better, for the best performance. I really want to buy the best. So I guess all the engineers are the same, because now they have all these toys, right? It's like their shop that you open to them, and they want to use the better and the best. And only these discussions will help make them think different and think about not having the best toy, but the most efficient for the company, from business perspective as well.
we have to lean in on that, right? Engineers are, I like this one. I've heard this one, a few different folks talk about this, but engineers are lazy. I would say engineers are efficient. Engineers are good at finding the fastest way to accomplish something. And so if we can help engineers get to the most performant and efficient resource configuration types and sort of deliver that to them and make it easy and trustworthy, they'll take it. And there's this push and pull when it comes to optimization where I see it's this cultural thing where sometimes I meet with a company and we show them our recommendations and they're like, well, we can't take these. and we know our systems, and you can't tell us what sizes to use because you don't know our systems, and we do. I see that response, and we need to do better building trust. And then I also see the other response where it's like, oh my gosh, this is so much more efficient, and I love efficiency, and it's a big part of how we build great services. And there's buy-in. And how do we convert customers from group A to group B, where they're sort of adversarial and they're like, don't tell me how to size my resources, I know what I'm doing, versus, okay, we're on the same team, we have the same goal of efficiency and effectiveness and great engineering. And it's not easy. There's some engineering organizations that culturally have commitments to efficiency and doing things that way. And there's some organizations that don't. And we're all, as a FinOps industry, we are all working to do that transition. And it requires a huge amount of trust building, transparency in how we make decisions, how we generate recommendations, providing access to engineers so they understand the science behind a recommendation, things like that. Because we really want everybody on that same page where we're all on the same team. We're all like FinOps collectively as an industry, as a loose set of organizations and practitioners. We all want cloud to be effective and high ROI and business valuable. We want it to empower and supercharge the next wave of investments that our companies are making, the next wave of amazing products and features and capabilities, right? And we need to make sure our engineers are aware that we want to empower them. We're not coming at them with a stick saying, hey, get in line, you're spending too much. We want to come at them with saying, like, let's make you more effective. Let's come alongside you and stretch your dollar so you can do more and have more impact. And that doesn't always come across in FinOps conversations. It's tough, right? And it's a little bit of, Corey says this. Corey says it's like marriage counseling for engineering and finance. I like that quote, but I feel a little bit more empathy there. I feel like it's more like, how can we be the supporting staff for a great engineering team? I feel that way myself too. My engineering teams that I am counterparts with, how can I make sure they understand their impact when they're building something efficient or cost effective for their customers? If I can bring some engineers into these customer conversations, I do, and they get to see the excitement and the interest on the face of the customer when they see a big problem area that they're struggling with is now solved. And that's important, because if you can get engineers excited about their increased impact by thinking about cost, an excited engineer, an impassioned engineer is an engineer that builds an inspired product.
Totally agree. Coming from the engineering background, totally agree. Engineers need much more. So now it's more like a mandate or something that we have to shift left and engineers have to do everything. Instead of helping the engineers do their job better and measuring them because of their impact, instead of saying that, yeah, you are wasting too much money. And I was like, okay, no worries. I will tear down everything, no worries. It will be fine for me. Yeah, $0.
Just size everything to a T2 Nano. And
yeah.
I think we have a new quote. We are on the same team. We need to add it to the everyone of the podcast. Every FinOps should do that. We are on the same team.
Yeah, it's super fun to see like how the trends are getting there and how they talk about shift left and engineering priorities and all this stuff is going, because I think it was a bit too pushy on the shift left, everything shift left, and I was like, how? Like, do you think engineers know how, and then they care, instead of like having the application running that has been the metric for several years and it's scalable and on Black Friday works and everything works, and instead of make the cost a non-functional requirement that the business is worried about, instead of, this product is amazing, it looks great, blah, 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 blah.
I hear that a lot, where it's like, And coming from an IT background, the first half of my career, it's like, if it's not broken, don't touch it. Harden a rule. And it even goes back to data center days where if I would reboot a physical server and it hadn't been rebooted, like turned off and back on in several years, the capacitors in the power supply would pop and you lose the server. So don't touch it. Do not touch it. And then if there was a patch that required full power off on, we would have to go send data center staff to go physically watch it to make sure it turned back on. So this, and then of course we had ITIL and Six Sigma. In the IT world, this is basically a bunch of framework around don't touch anything, don't break anything. And then here, cloud, we're saying touch everything, break everything, learn, scale, auto heal, resiliency. Such a polar opposite from what the IT industry found as success to keep data centers healthy and running.
Yeah, it's super interesting how things are evolving on that matter.
So I think we got to the point. Kind of what it was. I love this conversation was very insightful. But we would like to ask you, what do you, now that we are in Christmas time, what do you wish for the FinOps, or what would you like to see next year? What are the thoughts?
What would I like to see next year? I would love to see FinOps teams finding that next wave of success with right sizing. And I'll tell you, the number of optimization conversations I have with customers, FinOps teams, engineering teams, it continues to be one of the top conversations in all of cloud. Only sort of passed by AI right now. But over the last 5 years, it's generally been, and maybe Kubernetes before that, but it's largely been like, people love talking about savings. Love it. It's a fun conversation. The numbers are big. The savings numbers you see in the tools are huge. We look at metrics. We look at how many people are looking at the savings numbers. It's really big versus the number of people taking the recommendations. So people love to look at huge savings numbers and talk about it, get excited about it. Yet we still see a very large gulf between the people that look at the savings numbers and the people that take the savings numbers. And in 2025, I want to continue to see organizations turn those numbers into targets and to shrink the numbers of potential savings and grow the number of achieved savings. And there's a lot of work we have to do on the KPI side. There's some companies that have built interesting KPIs there. I want to see some standardization of optimization KPIs. I've got some ideas for what they could be. I also don't really want to define them. I want to see what customers come up with and define as their exit criteria for optimization. And I really want to see in 2025 the needles moving. I've seen the needles moving. There's a handful of companies that are extremely mature in FinOps that have taken a bunch of right sizing recommendations and are very serious about it. That being said, it still totals a fraction of the potential. So I want to see that spread. I want to see adoption of recommendations really become a standard practice for FinOps teams.
Wow. That's a great wish. I love it. I really love it. I think, the KPI conversation is going to be sticking for, I guess, ever. I think it's the business related stuff. And seeing more achievements and see what companies can do, it's going to be amazing in 2025, especially now. Even though I think it will be maybe more in 2026 when they break the budgets with AI in 2025. So then in 2026, they have to apply the FinOps. So it will be fun as well in 2025.
2025 Gartner reports, it went from 30% waste to 2%.
Let's see how she ends. I highly doubt it, especially with AI.
All right.
So Rick, it's been a pleasure to have you here. I think it was a lot of insightful stuff. Let's see if we can probably meet next year. And Merry Christmas and have a great New Year.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you for being here with us.
Happy New Year, everybody.